Ladies and gentlemen, if you just tuned in, you have entered the dungeon. I am your dungeon dweller. This is Pillar to Post. I am your host, Pete Wall. Now, what's going on the channel lately? Well, I got into some gaming streaming. I've been enjoying it. I've been doing The Last of Us. I started, what is it called? Resident Evil 7. Now, my last walkthrough, I think it's part 2 of Resident Evil 7, Biohazard, got frustrated, but then I was kind of half asleep as well while I was playing, so I just gave up before I got too frustrated. I made a lot of mistakes. I have to try and recover for the next stream when I go through the walkthrough again. On The Last of Us, we have just entered the winter season. Joel, the main character, the old man of the story, has gotten severely injured. I don't know if he's alive or dead. I know that the little girl is now hunting on her own, and that's where we're going to pick up when we start up again. I want to apologize. I have not uploaded any news, rumors, and things like that this week. Today is going to be that day, and I've made it an extra long episode of Pillar to Post just because of that fact. Now, there is a lot of news to cover, so I'm going to start into that soon, but first I want to give a shout out to my sponsors who are Audible. Now, today's podcast is brought to you by Audible. Get a free audiobook download and 30-day free trial at www.audibletrial.com/pillar2post. Now, they have well over 200,000 titles to choose from, as well as any genre you can think of for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player. Now, what does this mean for you? Well, you sign up for your free 30-day membership, you get an automatic free audiobook download that you can take wherever you need to go. So be it a long drive, sitting in the car, going to the gym, exercising, you have that option with your MP3 player, Android, iPhone, Kindle, or any other traveling device you might have that you can upload your free audiobook to. So, doesn't matter where you are, you get that. On top of that, if you decide to cancel your membership, say a day into your 30-day membership, you keep your free audiobook. Now, this doesn't just help me, this helps Audible, plus you get something out of it. And I'm using this and these sponsors to help build the community around here. Now, eventually I want to get into new sponsors like Loot Crate and stuff like that to do box openings for you and have them as a sponsor, so that way, you know, I can give you more coupons. So, like, I know Loot Crate does like 10 to 20% off, so you'd be able to have that option as well from my sponsors, and I'm really hoping to get that started, but I need to build my community up to the point where they can trust me to have enough of an audience in order to give me their sponsorship and give you those codes in order to get discounts on your Loot Crates, your Wrestle Crates, and stuff like that. That is what I'm working on right now, but first we have to build the Pillar to Post community up to where it needs to be. That is why I've gotten into gaming. I bought myself a PS4. I got 8 games along with it. Plus, I've got options to go to my son's room and grab his PS4 games, which I want to do because he's got RPG games and stuff like that. So I want to get into that. Now, why I haven't been doing the regular uploads like from Thursday to Sunday, I'm going to tell you this. I've got a lot of projects on the go, and my scheduling kind of got messed up this week. That's going to be rectified. Next week, it's business as usual. I'm going to come up with a schedule that I can do my YouTube uploads and my gaming live streams, so that way they're not conflicting. On top of that, I'm starting to work on my son's car, so there's going to be footage of that on the channel as well. So if you're a gearhead, you love classic cars, He's got a 1968 Dodge Polara that we are customizing the interior of. We've had to do a lot of body work already. I showed one episode where you've seen some of the work we've done. I want to take it a step further and get right into the car and show you what is left to be done. So there's that coming to the channel. There's going to be a WWE 2K17 series starting very soon. And it's not going to be anything like you've seen before here on YouTube. This is not going to have your regular wrestlers involved. These are going to be special characters that we're going to have it like an indie series. So we're going to do that. Now, as for today, a lot of news out there, but first I want to go through this. And I want to do something later on today. I'm going to do a podcast showing you the merchandise available for you in Teespring. And so you can get these products from Teespring. I want you to check them out. So I'm going to do a podcast showing you all the available items you can order through Teespring. And it's all Circle of Steel and Pillar to Post merchandise. So I want you to stay tuned for that as well. Now, like I said, shout out to the sponsors, Audible. Make sure you check out the link I provide to you in the description below. And again, it is audibletrial.com/pillar2post. My Teespring store is also linked in the description below, as well as my Facebook merchandise page and author page as well. Now, you can also send me a friend request on Facebook. That link is there below. I want to make sure I can connect with viewers and fans of the show all the time. So make sure you check that out. Also, like I said, I didn't get to do all these shows like I wanted to this week. So next week, Patreon is being used and utilized once again. So make sure, if you want to pledge, it's as low as $1 a month. And that is at patreon.com/pillar2post. And there are rewards for you if you decide you want to pledge higher. There is that option, and there will be big rewards in store for you. Twitter, you can follow me at Pillar2Post77, which will also be in the description below. And if you want to send me an email and you'd like me to read that email here on Pillar to Post, I want to start a sub-story segment here on Pillar to Post, where I read fans' letters to me talking about their experience in the wrestling world. You know, if you went to a live event and something big happened that really turned you on to wrestling or turned you off, no matter what the story is, you want me to read it here on Pillar to Post, I am all too happy to do that for you. And that can be sent to me at steeldragon1234@hotmail.com, and that will also be in the description below. Don't forget, it's not an email where you can send me messages bashing me about the show and how I speak and how I look. Okay? I know I've got some issues. I don't need that thrown in my face because I'm past it. It ain't gonna hurt me any. So we're done with all that. So how about we get kicking right into the news? There was a YouTube personality who ripped into Dolph Ziggler for flaking on a date with her. Says he's leaving wrestling soon as well. So YouTube personality Trisha Paytas went on a tirade on Dolph Ziggler last night after Ziggler allegedly flaked on a scheduled date. And I believe I'm saying it right, Paytas, who has 2.7 million subscribers, started the video by calling Ziggler a fuckboy who should be a man, and revealed that they hooked up a year ago. She went back and forth between calling it her best one-night stand ever to saying that it must not have been good because she doesn't remember it. Sounds like she's a little bit spun. Now, she goes on to say, I don't really remember much of it, so when I say it was the best sex ever, I was fucking high on drugs. So was it really even? She pondered. If I can't even remember it, then it wasn't the best sex ever. Paytas referred to Ziggler as barely a celebrity and said that they had been communicating regularly over the past few months. She said that Ziggler texted her a week ago saying that he was going to be in town and wanted to meet up for drinks this past Thursday. Now that day, he texted her and said that he wanted to meet her at 10:30, but it couldn't be too late or an evening because he had to wake up early. Paytas told Ziggler not to flake because she was canceling a date for him. He told her that he couldn't put out tonight, and she said that it was fine, noting that while she loves sex, she doesn't have that much of it because she's very picky. I seen her picture. I think it's other reasons. Now, I just had my vagina cleaned this week, so I'm very, very picky on what goes inside of it and who goes inside of it, she explained. She added that she asked Ziggler where they should meet, and he didn't reply. At around 10:10, Paytas texted Ziggler asking if he still wanted to meet. Ziggler replied, "I'm going to flake," adding, "I'm old." He said that he was still at the airport and his eyes were burning, and asked if they could reschedule for today, which caused her to have a minor meltdown. Now, Paytas later revealed that she had dated another wrestler in the past and had a similar experience. She goes on to say, "I don't know what it was about or what it is about wrestlers. They have these big fucking heads," she said. "Wrestling's fucking fake, but all the fans of this wrestling fake bullshit think it's real and think he's a god. And he starts thinking this shit too. That's what these wrestlers do." Now, she said that the texted Ziggler that she doubts he'd want to meet up today after the video she was going to make. Ziggler once again said that he could meet up today and apologize for always flaking. She goes on to say, "As far as guys that I was into and like and think are good people, this guy was at the top of the list," Paytas said. "This guy was polite and respectful. He talked to me, checked in with me. He was so fucking sweet. Let this be a lesson to all men. If this guy, fucking Dolph Ziggler, who is traditionally good looking, has a good job, even he's not worth it, girls. Don't let fucking someone disrespect your fucking time, and it's bullshit. He is not that hot. Honestly, I can't remember the sex, so it must have not been that good. I was drunk as fuck." She also stated that earlier that she was high as well. Now, Paytas finished her tirade by taking a shot at wrestling fans, apparently thinking that they don't know that it's scripted. She also added that Ziggler was leaving the business soon. And these are her words again. "For all of you wrestling fans, wrestling is fucking fake," she revealed. "This man is a 37-year-old man and not a god who is fucking leaving wrestling soon anyways." All I have to say is wow. Simply wow. So you got stood up by a man. Big fucking deal. It happens. Okay? Hell, women stand up men all the time. They don't go on a tirade on YouTube about it. So either this is all about getting her attention, or, she's a little bit psycho and decided to, air her dirty laundry on the internet. As for Dolph Ziggler leaving WWE soon, well, you know what? If this guy actually went out on the indies for a bit, he'd probably be able to recreate himself and become popular once again. Look at everyone that has had success with this. Cody Rhodes, Drew McIntyre, or, in the indies, Drew Galloway. There is so many of these people. AJ Styles did it. He became even more famous. Look at the Hardy Boys. Look at the Young Guns, or Young Bucks. They haven't even entered the WWE yet, and they are larger than what most tag teams are in WWE. So look at Kenny Omega. Big examples. Now, if Dolph Ziggler decides he wants to leave WWE and take the indie route to get more famous and then come back later on, it might do him some good. But in the grand scheme of things, who the fuck really cares? This bitch is probably just saying he's leaving wrestling anyway because she wants to piss off some fans. Because obviously we're stupid because we don't realize wrestling scripted and fake. Yeah, I don't agree with that because I know it's scripted, I know it's fake, and I'm pretty sure my viewers are smart enough to know this as well. Please, do me a favor. Leave a comment in the comment section below and tell me what you think of this quack. This fucking batshit crazy bitch going on her tirade. And what do you guys think about Dolph Ziggler leaving WWE soon? And do you think he should go the route of Cody Rhodes, hit the indies for a while, and then return with a whole new gimmick? You know? Let's talk about it. Up next, Impact Wrestling partner claims Jinder Mahal's WWE title push was related to Impact's tour of India. Yeah, because that makes sense. So this source is the Wrestling Observer newsletter, and goes on to say, we've noted how one of the reasons Jinder Mahal won the WWE title is because of WWE's plans for the expansion into India, as they really hope to tap into the huge market there. Now, Impact Wrestling sources report to the Wrestling Observer newsletter that their partners in India, Sony 6, told them that it's believed Jinder's big push is directly related to the Impact Tour of India that just wrapped this week. Now, WWE has opened an office in India and they continue to try and draw more revenue from the market, but they have no TV events scheduled for India this year. They will be running live events in the country this September. Now, no word yet on if the Sony 6 claims are true, but the Observer points to how WWE's strategy for the UK market changed when another promotion came in with a strong TV backing, ITV's World of Sport, and how WWE's plans changed again when that ITV project stalled. Now, WWE was working on plans for monthly tapings and a weekly UK TV show for the WWE network, but those plans appear to have changed with the implosion of the ITV project. So, is that a sign that we might not get a UK TV show? I don't know. I don't know, but I can honestly say this. You know, WWE is going to go the route where they see profit coming their way. And if they see that another company might be, you know, gaining that some profit in a revenue that they haven't, you know, thought plausible, or they didn't really have the idea for at first, and they see it's working for the other company, you know what? This is a business. They're going to go the route where they're going to make the most money. India is that route right now. The UK is that route right now. So they're going to go on those ventures, and they're going to try and land big things over there and get those markets out there and make their money. Did they do it because of Impact Wrestling? I don't know. I don't work for WWE, but I can say this. Impact's going to claim things so that way they're in the news and it maybe draws more eyes towards their product. And I can say this. If I can't stay awake 10 minutes into your show, not many other people will be able to either. Your storylines are even worse than what WWE is doing, and your wrestling is subpar. Give me a break, okay? You're not going to draw more fans and eyes towards your product by having a shitty product. WWE is bad enough right now. We don't need to be watching your shit as well. Now, some of you might be Impact fans, and I do apologize for my opinion, but it is my opinion, and this is my show, and you are watching Pillar to Post, so, you know what? Up next, Alexa Bliss on if she cares what fans think. She talks about being a heel, and which former WWE champion influenced her. Now, if you guys remember this past week, she had a very bad segment. She had to do This Is the Life of Bayley segment, and it bombed terribly. This was done back in the day of The Rock and Mankind, and it sucked back then. It was 10 times worse this time around. And now, like I said on my other podcast, I give Alexa Bliss credit. She pulled through it. She ignored all the comments from the fans, the boos, the boring chants, the what chants. She pulled through it. You could see she was uncomfortable doing it. You could see that she didn't like doing it. and yet she pulled it through because she is a class act inside that ring and on that microphone. Now, was it a segment for her? No, it was not a segment for her. They have really wrecked this woman since her arrival to Monday Night Raw. Yes, they gave her the women's title, but they made her terrible on the microphone. She used to do great promos on SmackDown. Now she is doing these rehashed, revamped fucking segments that were done in the 90s that sucked back then. So they need to go a different route with Alexa Bliss. I think they need to let her just go on her own. Don't give her a script. Let her be her. And I guarantee you, you're going to see a whole new Alexa Bliss. Now, Alexa Bliss spoke with the Weekender on a number of wrestling topics, and here are just some of the highlights. She talks about being a heel and fans' reactions. She says, it's so much easier to get people to hate you than to like you, and I kind of like to play with that little bit. Not caring what the fans think and just kind of wanting them to hate me, even though I do kind of care what they think. It's just so fun to portray this mean person just to see how people react to it. It's a lot of fun. Now, she says Rey Mysterio's influence on her outfits. Now, she says Rey Mysterio used to have different outfits as well, and I used to watch Rey growing up, and I thought he was awesome because he had that lucha style, which I liked because I was a gymnast. The fact he used to dress up as all kinds of different characters is where I got the idea to do that to myself. And I have to say, she picked a great role model when it comes to her outfits because that chick looks hot in everything she comes to the ring with. So, you know what? Rey Mysterio as an influence, not a bad thing at all. Moving in, I thought this was kind of funny. Lana wants to be involved in Money in the Bank. Yes. She talks about WWE working on Snapchat programming, and let's see what this has to say. So, could Lana be added to the first ever Women's Money in the Bank ladder match next month? Lana has yet to make her SmackDown debut, but she tweeted the following to SmackDown Commissioner Shane McMahon. She goes on to ask him, Dear Shane McMahon, can I please negotiate being put in the first ever Money in the Bank women's match? I'd like to be a part of history. Thank you at WWE. And this guy wonders, really? Lana, do you really need to be involved in the historic first ever Money in the Bank women's title match? Or, title match. Number one contenders match. Whatever the hell it might be. Do you really need to be involved? Do you need to be involved in this historic moment? I think not. Why? Well, let me tell you. You're a pretty woman. You're a beautiful woman. Yes. You do a nice little dance on your chair. Yes. But you have not made your SmackDown debut. You have done nothing, absolutely nothing for SmackDown. You haven't wrestled a live show yet. You've done dark matches on NXT. You've been working your ass off in the Performance Center. I give you credit for that. You are a workhorse. But you have yet to debut. So why do you deserve a shot at Money in the Bank to get your number one contendership or cash that Money in the Bank in? Why do you deserve that opportunity? Because, frankly, there is far better women than you that deserve that opportunity long before you step into that ring. Now, once you've made your debut and show that you can wrestle and you're not another Eva Marie, then maybe, just maybe, I could see it plausible that you would be involved in next year's Money in the Bank if they do another one, if this one goes well. But frankly, Lana, you have done nothing for the fans as of yet, except for look good in a dress and accompany your man down to the ring. So once you've done more than that, then please ask again, because other than, if we don't see anything from you, then we don't want to see you in that kind of spotlight, because you, frankly, have not earned it. I'd say Asuka, Ember Moon, Peyton Royce, Women like that from NXT could be put into this match before you could be. That is my opinion, and it sounds like an asshole, but frankly, Lana has done nothing for the fans as of yet besides be the mouthpiece for Rusev, be his arm candy, and done dark matches that we have not seen. What's the point? Let's move on. Backstage update on Brock Lesnar facing the winner of Sunday's Fatal 5-Way match. Now, Brock Lesnar's title defense at the WWE Great Balls of Fire pay-per-view on July 9th against the winner of this Sunday night's Fatal 5-Way number 1 contenders match at Extreme Rules will be a quick program. Dave Meltzer noted on Wrestling Observer Radio that the match will not lead to a rematch with Lesnar at the following pay-per-view, SummerSlam. Now, as Lesnar is slated to face Braun Strowman at that event. We'll see. Now, we reported earlier this month that Lesnar is scheduled to be appearing on television again, starting with the June 12th Raw in Lafayette, Louisiana. His next appearance will be at Raw on June 26th at the Staples Center. And local advertising is promoting a match between Lesnar and Bray Wyatt, which is likely to be a dark match as Lesnar hasn't worked a match on Raw since returning to WWE in 2012. Now, Lesnar is also advertised for Raw on July 3rd in Phoenix, which is the go-home show for Great Balls of Fire, as well as for the post-Great Balls of Fire episode of Raw on July 10th in Houston. So, of course, he's going to need some warm-up matches to get himself involved. And yes, it's going to be a one-and-done match at the next pay-per-view before SummerSlam. Of course it's going to... Or Great Balls of Fire. Of course. This guy is out of shape. Not physically out of shape, but when it comes to ring work, he is out of shape. He probably needs a few dark matches in order to warm up towards a pay-per-view. And then what are we going to see from him? Well, we're going to see suplex after suplex after suplex. We're going to see a couple of knees. We're going to see a couple of shoulder tackles in the corner. But other than that, it's going to be your basic Lesnar match. A boring match to begin with. He needs to be put against an opponent that can compete against him. Samoa Joe, Kurt Angle, guys like that. Guys that can compete on a level like Brock Lesnar. And then he's going to go on to hold that title hostage even longer, leading into SummerSlam, and then he's going to face either Braun Strowman or whoever else they choose. Right now they stated Braun Strowman. I don't know. I really don't. Maybe that's still on the paper, but I don't think it's penned in. I think it's still penciled in. So that's my thoughts on that article. WWE Raw audience keeps dropping. New low for 2017. So Monday's Memorial Day edition of WWE Raw, featuring the final hype for Extreme Rules with Roman Reigns defeating Seth Rollins in the main event, drew 2.613 million viewers. This is down 0.7% from last week's 2.615 million viewers. This is another new low for 2017. Now, this marks the 5th straight week that Raw has averaged below 3 million viewers. For this week's show, the first hour drew 2.689 million viewers. The second hour drew 2.681 million viewers. And the final hour drew 2.468 million viewers. So, a constant drop throughout the 3 hours of the show. Now, Raw was number 1 on cable for the night in viewership and number 2 in the 18 to 49 demographic behind Street Outlaws. But, like it says, for the 5th straight week, you have been dropping in the ratings. Why? Your programming sucks. Your storylines are nothing. You have matches that are great on paper, but without the storylines and the creativeness behind them, it's just coming across flat. It's not giving the impact that it needs to do. That's what I'm missing from my wrestling programming. I need the impact. I need the storylines, the creativeness to be there to basically just fall into the match. lose myself into the match. We know it's fake. We know it's scripted. But that is the role that the creative team is supposed to play. They are supposed to make it intriguing and interesting enough and exciting enough that the fans lose themselves in the storyline and the matches. And without a good storyline and the creativeness there, we don't have that ability to fall into the match and lose ourselves like we used to do. You want better ratings? Fire your creative team and hire a better one. People that actually know the wrestling business and the wrestling fans. Without that, you're going to keep on seeing your ratings flop. Moving on, Jerry Lawler on Alexa Bliss, WWE Raw segment. If he agreed with Booker T saying it was hard to watch, and yes, it was very hard to watch. If Jerry Lawler doesn't agree, I think he's going a bit senile in his old age. Now, on this week's episode of Dinner with the King podcast, WWE Hall of Famer Jerry the King Lawler and co-host Glenn Moore discussed the This Is Your Life segment from this past Monday's Raw. They sent us these highlights. Now, just before I move on, I do need a drink, and I'm going to apologize for the noise I'm going to make right now, but now Lawler on the segment says this. Excuse me. Sometimes things happen that just don't turn out like you envision it. I'm sure that's exactly what happened there. Here's the other thing. It's live television. That's a double-edged sword. Believe me, when something doesn't turn out the way it's planned, there's nothing you can do about it. It's there. It was live and everybody saw it. That was just one of those cases. You just gotta move on. And Alexa Bliss did a good job of moving on. Now, his thoughts on Booker T's "this is hard to watch" line. And Jerry Lawler goes on to say, you know what? That could have been a Vince McMahon line. I'm not sure because I wasn't there. But either way, that was the right thing to say. It was probably conveying the thoughts of everyone watching it. And yes, it conveyed our thoughts properly. That segment, by far, might be the worst segment, the worst promo of 2017. You never know. Someone else could be doing something worse next week or next month. But right now, as it stands, that is the worst segment, the worst promo of 2017. I feel for Alexa Bliss, but she did a good job of pulling through and working through it. So you can't shit on her because this isn't her. This is the creative team dumping this shit on her and forcing her to do this crap on national television. Talking about another woman of wrestling, Raw's Nia Jax knocks the Raw brand. Now, Nia Jax took to Twitter and knocked her own brand when commenting on the first ever Women's Money in the Bank ladder match at the SmackDown's Money in the Bank pay-per-view next month. She tweeted the following, knocking Raw for how they used their women's division. And these are her words. Wow. First ever Money in the Bank women's ladder match. Amazing how SmackDown Live uses their entire women's roster every Thursday. And that was tweeted on May 31st. So you can obviously see the women are not happy on Raw because they are not getting the TV time, and I cannot blame them. We haven't seen Nia Jax how long? We haven't seen Mickie James. We haven't seen all the other women. Where are they? You know, we get to see Sasha Banks. We get to see Alexa Bliss, Bayley, and there you go. What the fuck is going on? If SmackDown can use all their women on a 2-hour show, Monday Night Raw should by far and large be able to cover every single woman on their roster in their 3 hours. But no, they don't. They choose to run promo after promo after promo. We get a few matches a night, which are substandard matches, and a whole lot of advertisements, when they could clearly cut the promos down a bit and other backstage segments and use their women properly. But it's Monday Night Raw. They want to deliver garbage. They want to see their ratings crash. Fine. Keep on doing it your way. in the end, when these women's contracts are up, you might see a lot of them end up leaving because, frankly, you're not giving them the TV time they rightfully deserve. Moving on, news on why WWE has so many multiple person matches. This is from Dave Meltzer, and he noted in the most recent issue of the Wrestling Observer newsletter that booking in WWE is slow right now, which is why the company has been having so many multiple person matches. It was noted that the plans are for things to pick up in July and August for SummerSlam. While WWE has a creative direction for SummerSlam, they don't have a lot of ideas right now. Well, we obviously see that, and you're suffering for it. So the multiple person matches are being used to fill in the time, of course, because this is what WWE does. If they don't have an idea, let's just throw everyone in a one big match. Fuck the fans, fuck the storyline, and let's just throw crap out there. Let's see if the shit sticks to the wall, and if it doesn't, well, you know what? There's always next month. There's always the next pay-per-view. That is bad thinking. Get your creative team straightened out. You know what? Revert back to bookers. They actually did it the right way. A follow-up on Tommaso Ciampa's injury. So, WWE NXT superstar Tommaso Ciampa is in Birmingham, Alabama to undergo surgery this week, according to PW Insider. We now know that Ciampa is suffering from a torn ACL, but there's no word yet on the severity of the injury or how long he might be out of action, but it could be for a long while. Now, as noted, Ciampa suffered an injury at the live event before TakeOver Chicago, but later suffered another injury during the ladder match loss to NXT Tag Team Champions, the Authors of Pain, at TakeOver. Now, after, where are we? I just lost myself. There we go. Now, after turning on partner Johnny Gargano, Ciampa was set for a big heel push in NXT. He has promised to be the most dangerous son of a bitch in pro wrestling once he returns. So, it kind of holds stories back because of the injury. But, you know what? I'd rather have him at 100% than at 50% or worse. I'm happy that the wrestlers don't try and push past the pain these days. They get the medical work they need done quicker than they used to, and their injuries don't hinder them in the future as much as they would have in the past. So, although it takes away a lot of storylines that could have been there, and their feud progressing between Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa, we're going to have to wait and see that. I don't know what they're going to be doing with Johnny Gargano in the meantime, but I assume when Tommaso Ciampa gets back, that feud is going to be reignited, and there is going to be a huge war coming to NXT. If you missed NXT TakeOver Chicago, man, the match between the Authors of Pain and DIY, fantastic, over the top, and what happened afterwards, the aftermath of that match, Tommaso Ciampa turning on Johnny Gargano, I'd have to say it was bigger, far bigger than when Shawn Michaels turned on Marty Jannetty. I remember back then when the fans were so irate with Shawn Michaels for turning on Marty Jannetty. But this was way above that, people. So if you haven't seen it, make sure you check it out. You can find it on YouTube if you can't find it anywhere else. If you're not on the WWE Network, you're going to have to check it out on YouTube or somewhere else online. But you will be excited to watch what we all watched at TakeOver Chicago. Moving on. Hulk Hogan finally returning to work for WWE soon. Big question mark there, people, because everyone knows back in 2015 he was released and distanced quite a bit from WWE product because of his racial rants that he used and was caught with. So the rumors are that they are working together to bring Hogan back, but they are trying to basically put feelers out there to get the fans' reaction, what's going to happen. Now, the source from this is Wrestling Observer Newsletter, And they went on to say there has once again been lots of talk within WWE about Hulk Hogan returning to work for the company. Now, according to the Wrestling Observer newsletter. So, coming out of the racist comments debacle from 2015, Hogan's WWE return has depended on the company being reasonably sure that bringing him back won't cause a big backlash. It's possible he's rehired for some sort of ambassador role in the near future. Now, a Hogan poster was recently featured in the WWE Kids magazine, which is released internationally but not in the United States. Hogan has also said he and Vince McMahon have had talks about a return. Now, I'm the kind of guy who believes in second chances. Hell, I believe in third chances, fourth chances. I believe anyone can come back from a mistake or an issue. I came back from my issues. I came back from my injuries. I'm not ever going to be what I once was. I'm not ever going to be the weightlifting machine, the powerhouse I once was, or the wrestler I wanted to be. That's never going to happen. But I've come back to the point where I've published a book. I am doing small things on my son's car, learning how to do things once again that I've lost that ability to do. I've learned how to do that. I've learned how to read again. I've learned how to write again. I've learned how to pronunciate words better. Everyone's got that chance to improve and overcome prior mistakes, prior injury, prior anything. If you've done something wrong and you own up to it and you make sure you apologize to the right people and change your ways, you have that ability to overcome and come back from what you've done. So I think with what Hulk Hogan's done for the business, now I've never been a Hogan fan. I thought his wrestling was substandard. He didn't know how to wrestle himself out of a paper bag, in my opinion. But what he's done for the wrestling world, that man needs that credit. He needs that second chance or third chance, whatever the case may be. He deserves to come back and work for the company where he became such a huge star. You know, without Hulk Hogan, there would have never been WrestleMania or Hulkamania or all the fans that we see now in the wrestling world. Without him, we would have never had the NWO, or it might not have been as big or as big of a surprise as it was in WCW. WCW probably would have never overshot WWE in the ratings if not for Hulk Hogan and the NWO. So, you look at everything this man's done for the company and for the wrestling world. He deserves that chance to come back and support the company he's loved and been involved in for so many generations. So, that's my opinion. If you don't agree with it, please voice your comments below. Should he be held off of television and distanced further from WWE just because he made a mistake and used racial comments? You know what? Everyone out there has made those kind of comments before. And if you say you have never used a racist term or a racial slur, you are a fucking liar and you're lying to yourself. Everyone has done it. Everyone. Either they didn't mean to, or they meant to, or it was done out of anger, what have you. Everyone has used a racial slur at some point in their life. And you are kidding yourself if you haven't. So if you're going to hold another man to it, please throw it in the comments below. Why not? Moving on. Ring of Honor star headed to WWE this summer. Could be. Who knows? The Wrestling Observer newsletter is my source, and Ring of Honor star Dalton Castle may be headed to WWE this summer as his Ring of Honor contract expires this month. Now, WWE has shown major interest in Castle, meaning it would take a major offer from Ring of Honor to keep him on their roster. The 31-year-old is known to be a top live show performer, and as the Wrestling Observer newsletter points out, he would have potential to be a real star in WWE. Now, I didn't know who Dalton Castle was before this because I haven't been watching Ring of Honor. But my co-host for Shooting from the Hip told me to check him out, so I checked him out. The guy, he's a very flamboyant character. Now, I don't know if WWE would keep him that way, but his wrestling is fantastic. His gimmick is, like I said, flamboyant, but it's not to the point where you get turned off of it. So I'd like to see him in NXT and then eventually the main roster. I would love to see him. So is it a possibility? Yeah, it's a possibility. If your end goal isn't to be in one of the biggest companies in the world, then your goals are very short-lived. Now, in cases like the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega, they might actually find better success in the indies and make their riches there. But there are some wrestlers that can't find that success as they could on, WWE television or Ring of Honor. So, could I see him coming to WWE? Yeah, I could see him coming. Now, if he's going to, or if Ring of Honor is going to put up the money to keep him there, that's another story. So, WWE Hall of Famer breaks both legs. Yes, bad news for Harley Race. WWE announced the following today on Hall of Famer Harley Race. Now, if you don't know who Harley Race is, you can do a search right on YouTube. You will see what a true heel is supposed to look like. And Harley Race was one of those real, true heels. Now, Harley Race, injured in a fall, WWE Hall of Famer Harley Race has broken both of his legs after a fall in his home in Troy. On Tuesday, WWE.com has learned. Now, Race sustained a fracture to his right femur. Damn, that's gotta hurt. And suffered breaks in his left fibula and tibia, and that's where my leg was damaged as well as a spiral fracture or spiral break of his left ankle, and my ankle was crushed. I want to tell you, that's painful. Now, I never had my femur broke, but damn. Now, the WWE Hall of Famer required emergency surgery to relieve the swelling in both legs late Tuesday night. He subsequently received 4 blood transfusions and underwent surgery on Friday to reset the fractures. Now, WWE wishes Harley Race the best on the road to recovery. Pillar to post, Pete Wall here, and I can probably say for the most part, the viewers are wishing you the same. Get back. I'm hoping that your recovery isn't as torturous as mine was. Your breaks, the femur is a big bone to break, and I know just by having the crushed ankle and the tibia and fibula broken, it is a painful ordeal to go through. I wish you all the best. I hope you get better soon, and just keep on living your life, and I'm hoping that this doesn't make your life even more complicated than it is, and it will be at the beginning, but I'm hoping later on, it isn't going to hurt you even more. So, Lucha Underground star reveals WWE wanted him to get bigger. Now, Lucha Underground star Jeff Cobb, also known as the Monster Matanza Cueto, was recently a guest on Sean Waltman's X-Pac 12360 podcast. Now, in the interview, Cobb, a former Olympic amateur wrestler, that represented Guam at the 2004 Summer Olympics, revealed WWE told him to get bigger. He goes, everybody wants to get to the WWE, so I did a little thing with them, and they wanted me to get bigger, Cobb remarked. Now, looking for clarity, Waltman interjected, and he asked, did they, WWE, tell you that? And Cobb explained, yeah. This is when I was only like 215, 220 pounds. So I was like, well, I got to get bigger. I'll get bigger. So I just started lifting more and less cardio. Cobb had a tryout with WWE in September of 2014 at the Performance Center in Orlando, Florida, under former head WWE trainer Bill DeMott. That tryout also included current WWE Cruiserweight performer Rich Swann. WWE isn't the only place Cobb would have liked to work. He also has his eyes on Japan. He goes on to say, I just feel my style would work there great. I think the Japanese fans would be really receptive to Cobb explained. Like someone compared me once to Gary Albright, obviously a shorter version and probably with better hair. I can't grow a mullet. That is definitely on my foreseeable future list or my to-do list. Now, after transitioning to professional wrestling in 2009, it was Lucha Underground where Cobb first gained exposure in the mainstream with the Matanza Cueto gimmick. At least initially, he wasn't excited about being pushed under a mask. He goes on to say, at first I was kind of bummed about being under a mask. At the time, when Lucha Underground told me the character, I didn't really comprehend or grasp what it was, but at the time, I was just looking for any exposure to get my name out there, and I just figured it's something to expand on me personally instead of just being the same person over and over every week, or in every indie company, Cobbs told Waltman. Now, if you guys have seen Matanza Cueto, you know he's a big guy, but he didn't start off that way. And he really found himself with the Matanza gimmick. I would like to see him from under the mask eventually, but right now I just tuned back into Lucha Underground. I've only watched the All Night Long edition and one match prior to that. Plus, I'm starting from episode 1, season 1, right from the beginning because I wasn't interested in Lucha Underground at first. So I'm waiting to see everything that Matanza does. Now, I have not seen him. I have seen him. He is a great performer. He looks like a monster. And that is what the gimmick called for. And he's done it very well. So that was Pillar to Post. That is all the news for today. And yes, there was more that I could do. But I want to do something for tomorrow as well. So I thank you for joining me. And if you stuck it out throughout the entire show, please, if you're not a subscriber, hit that subscribe button. Hit that little bell. Dingle dingle, people. That will give you all the notifications whenever I upload or I do a live stream with my gaming. So remember that. Also hit that like button, and you VidMe viewers, please hit the upvote button. Always support the channel, help this channel grow, help the community grow, and also get involved in the comments below because frankly I want to get interactive with you guys, and it's a little bit hard to do when you guys aren't using the comments below. Do that for me. Tell me what you think of this week's show and the discussions that we've talked about. This is Pete Wall. You've been watching Pillar to Post. Once again, thank you for watching.